A couple of months ago, I came across this video on my YouTube recommendations, the fiber to coax hoax, a video by Jeffery. And I thought to myself, just by looking at this thumbnail, there is no way that this cable actually works. They actually sell this cable. He says it's $5, and this is that exact cable available on AliExpress. That's how it looks like. It doesn't have a power source. So how can it work? Hello there, my name is Dominic, and today I'm going to explain my confusion about this optic to coax converter that doesn't have a power source. How does this thing work? It beats all logical explanations, and let me explain to you my conclusion about why I'm saying it doesn't work. Number one, it doesn't have a power source. Back then, when I used to write content on my website texawa.com, I used to review things, and one of the things that I reviewed was an RCA to RF converter or a modulator. And in this thing, you had to connect power to it, and then you had to feed it with a signal, an RCA signal, and then it spits out an RF signal on the other end. Recently, a couple of years ago, I had this gadget. This is the digital to analog audio converter. And again, this gadget, you feed it with a signal, either an optical or coaxial signal. And the other side, it spits out an audio out analog signal. But the most important thing about the point I'm trying to make is that it has a power source. It uses this USB to barrel connector that you plug into the TV or maybe a phone charger. That's the main thing that I want to make a point across. Now, years ago when I used to work somewhere, I used to have this neighbor. He had a shop and he sold these HDMI to VGA cables. So these cables, they purported to work like this. You plug the HDMI port into your decoder, and then the VGA, you plug it into your monitor. And this way, you can get the signal. It didn't even have any audio because, as you know, VGA doesn't have any audio. Or you connect the VGA to your computer and then the HDMI to your modern TV. But this cable never worked, and this is what he used to do. He used to sell people these cables. They used to return them saying they don't work, and he never argued with his customers. He used to replace these cables. When the customer goes, they come back, and this cable is still not working. Now what he will do, he was a very sneaky guy. He would replace that cable with the very first cable that he sold that customer. And he says that if this one doesn't work, just go and check your equipment. He did this all knowing very well that this cable doesn't work. By the way, I tested this cable. It didn't work either way. From HDMI to VGA or VGA to HDMI, it didn't even work. Now, here is another instance, number 3. The HDMI to RCA converters available out there. These converters, they came in a box similar to this. Or I recently did a video about RCA to RF converter, similar something. I'll post that video in the video description. Now these things, you also had to plug them into power. But with the HDMI to RCA, it was not a must because it pulled its power from the HDMI side. Now when it comes to the HDMI to VGA converter, there were actual converters, actual boxes that you connected to power. And they had separate audio out via a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. So the point that I'm trying to make across is that all these converters have a power source. Now, when we go back to this fiber-optic to RF Passive Optical Receiver Communication Network Optical Receiver Cable TV Optical Transmission, this thing does not have a power source. On one side, it has an F connector, and on the other side, this is an SC APC. This is the type of port you will find in people's homes in Wi-Fi routers. My router also uses such kind of a port. The most confusing thing about this thing is that when I watch this video, this thing actually works. I will post this video in the video description as well. Does a $5 fiber optic to cable TV adapter actually work? It actually works. It was very confusing to me. Simply put, this is how these fiber optic to coaxial converters work. They utilize the incoming light from the fiber optic cable as an energy source. And since that light is fluctuating in intensity, they will turn that into an actual coaxial signal that you can plug into your TV. In Ben Jeffery's video, he actually turned a fiber optic signal into a coaxial signal that he plugged into the back of his TV. Now, you could also use this gadget from your antenna to your TV, but you just have to do some conversion. It doesn't make sense, I know. This is not something that anyone can just buy, but the point of this video is that it was very confusing that this thing actually works. So that's it. My name is Dominic. I hope you learned something new in my confusion video. Let's meet in the next video. Thank you again for watching till the end, and goodbye.